and that's chaired by Dr. Anne Kemp. And while there isn't universal acceptance of the definition of, say, Level 2 BIM or the UK approach, what they have done is they've developed various standards for ISO 19650, and there are, for example, ISO 1960 Part 1 is definition of BIM. And so what you'll see with ISO 19650 is, as we've seen an early draft of it, any companies that have started to use the PAS framework will not be surprised, because there'll be a seamless transition from PAS to ISO 19650. But some of the language, it will be slightly different, because obviously in many international communities that haven't, say, been influenced by the United Kingdom over the last number of centuries, they have a different approach, you know, and to how they design and build and how they organise their professional. Yeah. So no, anyone that has transitioned to use those products will, or those processes, and a lot of Irish companies have, I think it will be pretty seamless. Yeah. Is that a fair reflection? Yeah. Yeah. I would just maybe, could I ask one question, just sorry, in regard to building codes, and I know the presentation that, is Jerry there, or do you have to go? Oh, that's okay. No, I'm just wondering, Celebri, code checking,
Yep.
all of that. Is there any examples internationally where you've worked with international governments and international organisations to, for say, building code checking, automated checking of
Yes.
designs?
So we've actually got a UK case study at the moment that it's only just launched, so we can give an update on it a bit later on. But they're essentially using, we have a separate product that is called AutoRun. So we're allowing people to write the rules that they want to be, or write the data that they want to be checking within the IFC files, and then they're leaving it over the weekend or something like that, and come back in, and the rules are automatically checked. So they're opening the IFC file also off the server, and then running the checks.
Yeah. Because I know that the Irish government, and it's in the roadmap, that they're looking at piloting ways in which they can automate more the planning process, you know, the outline and the detailed planning process, but also the building control checking, you know, as opposed, because it seems to be, what Jared presented was excellent, and they're obviously, it's a much needed service. It appears that, you know, you could do it in a more automated way, I don't know. But
Singapore have Coronet.
yes.
They use to automate their planning process. So
Yes.
you give them an IFC file, and it checks a lot of the spatial and the travel spatial sizes and travel distances and everything.
Yes,
Australia have design check that they're working on,
that's right.
and Norway have something that I don't even want to try and pronounce. But again, it's a similar system again. And as far as I know, they're all run off IFC.
Yes.
So they're
I
pretty.
think the Netherlands have a similar,
Do they?
yeah. Yeah, it's called BIMS. Well, yeah, it's a similar system. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Yes?
And when might the NSAI accreditation come into play for, is it a BIM level 2
Q3
accreditation?
2019.
Yeah, it's not till 2019, but the first thing that has to be done, we had a meeting with the NSAI in recent weeks, and the first thing that has to be done is the NSAI have to write formally to the National BIM Council outlining their position. But the first thing that has to be done on Pillar 3 is there has to be a commitment, that we have to demonstrate that there is a commitment to open BIM or BIM standards in Ireland. So that there needs to be a conversation with industry, government and academia to, you know, for example, academics need to start teaching standards, you know, and not just teaching tech Revit. They need to start talking about the need for open standards and IFC and the need for and of course companies start to see need to start using it, you know. So in talking to the NSAI, they routinely have, basically the way they operate, they have I suppose, like assigned certifiers. They have their consultants that go out and inspect companies, you know, for ISO 9001 and all of that. that. So they don't see any issue if you're a construction client, you know, say you're a contractor, you're an architect, you're an engineer, a surveyor, they don't see any major concern about bolting on the BIM piece, yeah, that they have ISO 19650 compliance. But we're kind of just kind of we're in a kind of a situation we're waiting for that standard to come out, yeah. And but I know that the BRE, for example, have opened office in Ballymount, actually in UCD campus in recent months. So BRE are now on the ground in Ireland. I know that BSI are on the ground in Ireland as well, and you know they're routinely certifying. So I would see the NSCI building a relationship with those certification bodies. I would not see them reinventing the wheel. So if you're a company that already have certification, BIM certification, I would see that being recognised, you know. So, but yeah, so it's all on the plan, but hopefully we'll get to it, and hopefully it'll be funded as well, you know. Yeah, yeah.
Just in relation to the fifth dimension, which is the cost.
Yes.
In relation to being like different countries, being the UK and Ireland, different rules of measurement.
Correct.
And how does that package, or how does that get programmed into BIM? And is there a human element to the measurement, or is it all just spit out and run you through another program?
Well, I'm
It's
probably
already designed.
yeah. I'm doing QS on the panel, aren't I?
Yeah.
So okay, so am I?
Yeah.
Okay. So with quantity surveyors, we don't need to know how to design. You know, we don't need to know how to put the model together. But we need to know what to do if we receive an RVT file or an IFC file or whatever it is. But I think probably the most knowledgeable person in BIM is probably Trevor Woods. You know Trevor? He's now working on the Children's Hospital and so on. And so the basic problem with quantity surveyors, as I see it, is that if you are required to manage the cost on a project or produce a bill of quantities, you have to have the confidence that the quantities are correct, right? So you cannot accept what the machine tells you. You've got to check the quantities, and particularly the high cost quantities. You know, 20% of a bill of quantities is made up of 80% of the cost. So your concrete, your big cost items, yeah? So what needs to happen is a piece of script needs to be written between the BIM information and the ARM. And that shouldn't be a big piece of work to do. I know there's a lot of work being done in the NRM, but there is talk of Ireland adopting the international measurement standards and moving away from ARM. But like there's an awful lot of research, by the way, in this roadmap for students. If any students here, there's a huge amount of research in this roadmap. If they look at it, they could do their dissertation on, and I think more work needs to be done by the SCS, for example, to sponsor and support a piece of research about how to integrate BIM into national standards. I mean, for example, the CIC, the Construction Industry Council in Ireland, have committed to using the RIBA digital plan of work. But that's different from the national standards elements that we use. So, yeah, but I mean, our QSs in DIT are being taught BIM from day one. And I know the guys in Waterford, and so I think the QS is coming out with respect. You know, I mean, most of the presenters today and yesterday were under I'd say 30 years of age. Am I right? Yeah. I'm 55 years of age. You know, so it's past me out. So I think it's the next generation that are going to push it on. You know. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? It was really good. Presentations, excellent. And I just hope that we can, you know, I think Mel, we can get this group up and running.
Yeah.
I think Centre Parks would be a really cool thing to do. I think it might get certainly a good group of people, and there'll be a lot of interest from all around the country to come and see that project. It's probably the biggest project I've sent on, is it?
Oh, I would imagine so, yeah. We've had a number of events over the last 2-3 years, but definitely talking to the guys at CISC, they've expressed an interest to come and do a presentation for us, so we'll try and arrange something with them in the not too distant future.
And are there plans for any major, say, infrastructure projects around, say, the Midlands?
Well, I think we'll see what comes out to shake up the 2040.
Yeah.
They designated Athlone as an area of development, but you know you've powerhouses in Tullamore and Mullingar and Portlaoise nearby, so we'll have to just wait and see. I suppose the major infrastructure development probably here is and I'm not sure what in terms of BIM element is in it, will be the drainage, or not the drainage, sorry, the flood relief works. There's a €6 million project just on the west side of the Shannon there that will protect the town or parts of the town from flooding.
As we noticed, the river was very high last night. Like, it was very high. I'd say.
It's high at the moment.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is high at the moment. It's not thankfully at the levels we had a couple of years ago. But,
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for the invitation, and hopefully we'll see you again soon, and we'll keep you updated as to our progress. But even what Teddy was talking about there, you know, using video to promote your business, because there's no doubt about it, doing BIM means winning work in the future. So we've got to move on. Okay, guys, thanks very much. Thank you.